So I want to say welcome. I'm happy to be with you today, and I really do appreciate your time. My name is Elaine Melanson, and I'm a member of the Edwin Classroom Success Team. And we're going to dive right in. And just want to take a moment and, in the spirit of reconciliation, acknowledge that I live, work, and play in the traditional land of Mi'kmaq, which is the home of the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia. And please take a moment just to quickly read through the land acknowledgement on the screen and acknowledge the land you are currently working from. We do seek a new relationship with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, one based in honor and deep respect. Moving along, today's topics, we're going to talk about going beyond the textbook in the Edwin Library, digital exploration discovery, and the instructional toolbox and some ideas you can use right away. We're going to keep this short and sweet, so that is going to give you some time at the end to ask your questions and maybe go back and look at a few things, but really we're just going to dive right in. So as we take an opportunity to roll up our sleeves and find some materials and work with something we can maybe assign to our students, keep this question in mind. How could I integrate Edwin into something I'm planning to teach soon, whether it's a lesson, a unit, a theme, a project assignment of some kind, whatever you can come up with? Because if you've had that training, you know that Edwin has a lot of flexibility to it and a real depth of library resources. Think of the Swiss Army knife analogy that you would have heard during your Edwin training. So what Edwin tool or tools would I choose in my teaching? And remember, like a Swiss Army knife, you don't use all the tools all at once. You pick and choose according to your situation. So that's the whole idea behind the flexibility of Edwin. I'm going to be using the Ontario Library today, but these strategies are applicable no matter what you teach or where you teach it. So let's move along. Let's look at Explore. We're going to talk today about some hidden gems in the library. So we're going to talk a little bit about exploring, and we're going to look today about some hidden gems that are in our library. And the reason we're going to focus on those is because I don't know about you as a teacher, but I tend to go right straight down to the bottom to my subject area. And that's usually where I head back to, just because I know my subjects and I know what I want to teach in there. I know what my curriculum expectations are. Let's look elsewhere, though, and see what's in here that we might be missing that we can use a wide range of ways. So I'm going to go up here to Edwin Collections. I'm going to click on that button, and I want to take a look at a couple of things today. We're going to look at one thing in geography and one thing in history very, very quickly. So we have featured collections, current events, and our current event archives, and days of significance. And you would have briefly seen those during your Edwin training sessions. What we're going to do today is take a quick look at this current event here, building our virtual Earth. So it's what we call a Take 10, which means it's meant to be either grab and go, or we can use it very quickly. So let's take just a quick dive into that. When you find this in your Edwin Collections, when you click on it, it will ask you to copy to your collections, as you know, and I am going to do that, and it flips it open. When you look through a collection in here, especially one that's already pre-made for you, you can use that flexibility that you have in order to be able to use this and create your own collection, or to take pieces of it or the whole collection all at once. So you know your subject area, you know your content areas, you are the experts. So you'll find it easy to adapt these to your own context. Usually in these Take 10 collections, these quick ones, you find a slide deck, which will help you actually work through guiding your class into the actual collection itself. So in this particular collection, it links a lot of cross-curricular links, which is why I wanted to point it out to you. We've got in here a video link to building the Earth in Minecraft. Minecraft is making a comeback. It used to be kind of an old-fashioned type of video game. Now kids are talking about it, especially the 6 to 8, 6 to 8, and sometimes even 9 to 10 levels. How to do that? You see Hour of Code in here, and then a link to the Build the Earth project, and it all links into your Why Study Geography. So this particular collection can be really, really helpful to you in terms of grabbing something that's very current, connecting it to current culture, making it very relatable to your students through the Minecraft piece of it, and also having them link back to those mapping skills. That's very, very important. And also how geography is useful outside of a classroom context. So if you look over here in the description, you can see how this Build the Earth project was started by students, started by youth, and is expanding all over the world. They're also in here underneath this particular link. If you go into YouTube and you search "Build the Earth," you will see actual projects happening. You'll see the one they just built for Vancouver. There's one in the works for Calgary and for Edmonton. There's also one there in Toronto that's being built, and one for Halifax. So it's right across the country. So this is really great. Also in here, there are pieces about, why geography is important, which is really, sometimes kids have a hard time understanding that. And what I really like in here is also creating GIS maps, Geographic Information System maps. Now that's a really great skill building one that helps kids learn to build maps before they actually undertake this. So you can take this particular collection and use pieces of it, say, okay, I'm not going to have my kids do a Minecraft map, and that's not the point of it. It's about how the relation with the culture. But I do want them to learn how to use digital maps and how to build in them, to practice what you've learned. So that's a great one to piece out. Also, adding layers, analyzing layers in a digital map. So you can use the National Geographic application, MapMaker Interactive. So as you look into hidden gems, try to move past this collection doesn't work for me. Or if you see something and you're scrolling through and go, oh no, my students can't do that, try to move past that into what's in here that I can use. It might even just be this slide deck, Building Our Virtual Earth, about exploration of building and why people choose to build and to establish villages, towns, or settlements in a particular area. What are the geographical, how does landform, put that in there. So if you're talking about building a virtual Earth, you still have to consider the same factors that you would consider that our settlers would have, and colonies would have been, that our ancestral peoples would have had to consider when they were choosing where to build and where to settle. So lots of things you can do in here that actually link into your geography. I know a lot of teachers in 6 to 8 tend to teach geography in this particular this quad that's just started, or in the second term, or whatever division, whatever type of time division that your particular province has. So that's one to really note. Building Our Virtual Earth. I'm going to go back here into the Edwin collections, and you'll find that again under current events. And I'm going to go down a little bit further into our days of significance, which is down underneath. This is another one that tends to get missed. So as you're exploring down here, I'm going to go over and I'm going to find the collection right over here near the end. Coming up to the days, the reconciliation, Women's Day, Black History Month, because we know that February is Black History Month. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to copy it to my collections. And it'll open up here in a moment. And there's the description of it. And again, I can take a look in this particular history collection and make some links. I don't have to do the whole thing. And I'm going back into what I said about the geography one. In this history one, you've got some really beautiful pieces of history, and the whole idea of how Black History Month evolved and the need for it, talking about responding to racism and discrimination, the number 2 Construction Battalion, challenges to Black Canadians after World War II, heritage minutes, all kinds of great videos and links in here, links to people of African descent and music and culture, some great things in here. And what I like about this is how it links into the citizenship piece, the citizenship in action, and in terms of helping others learn about culture and supporting human rights. And there's a great link in here in terms of Black Lives Matter as well, and Black history organizations and educational resources where you can take this further. And I'd be looking at this as a teacher and saying, okay, this resource down here, these resources, how can I weave that into the current events piece and talk about, how I can work to eliminate discrimination, racism, why that's important to us today, why that's come to the forefront, especially recently. We all know what's been going on in our world these days. So great pieces in here. And even to pop these out and talk about citizenship, in general, is really, really important and links in. You can see how this crosses all of those areas that we're looking at in terms of building with this, in terms of actually moving ahead and taking pieces out. So you've got the historical side and you've got the current events side in there. So leveraging these collections incorporates, as I said earlier, a wide range of skills and tools. You've got literacy built in. You've got, in the virtual earth, you've got math and coding built into that. So I'd like you to think a little bit about how these types of collections can help motivate and engage your students in their learning. If I want to share the whole collection out, I just go right up here to the top to either in a shareable link if you're using something like D2L Brightspace, or if you're using Google, if you're a Google Classroom teacher, or if you're a Microsoft Teams teacher, you can share that right into a channel, or as an assignment, you can share the whole thing. I think for me, as a teacher, putting my teacher hat on, I've taught for a lot of years, taught this junior high level. I like the real world applications of them, moving outside of that box of digital, of the textbooky type of approach, and actually seeing the real world pieces of it, the cultural pieces. I think that's really cool.